You already know. You already know. She's asking for an open marriage. It's time to go. It's time to go. You did the right thing. You didn't go investigate. You didn't go snooping or questioning her. Hey, who have you been sleeping with? Who you're talking to? What are you doing? You want an open marriage? I'll serve you with divorce papers. How about that? That's how you do it, guys. That's exactly how you do it.
Subject: She asked for an open marriage, so I gave her a divorce instead. Hey, True Story. I've been a silent listener of your channel for a while now. I've heard a lot of stories from men across the world that mirror the pain, betrayal, and confusion I went through years ago. For the longest time, I kept my story to myself until recently. After hearing so many brothers speak their truth on your platform, I figured, why not? Maybe someone out there needs to hear this. My name's Don. I'm 41 now, divorced, and finally at peace. But that peace didn't come easy. It came with heartache, paperwork, courtroom lies, and a lot of ugly family drama. I divorced my ex wife Brittany nearly 6 years ago, and I've never once regretted that decision, not even for a second. Let me get right into it. The reason I served Brittany divorce papers was simple. She asked for an open relationship. That one request told me everything I needed to know. I didn't question her. I didn't argue. I didn't yell or even flinch. I just sat there, nodded, and went to bed. The next morning, I called off work, got dressed, and made an appointment with a divorce attorney. She had no clue what was coming. Brittany must have thought my silence was a quiet yes or maybe a passive aggressive agreement. She was probably thinking, wow, Don took that better than I expected. But nah, I was done. That one request flipped a switch in me that can't be flipped back. A month later, she was served at her job. A divorce packet right on her desk, certified mail and everything. And just like that, the waterworks began. Before I get to her reaction, let me backtrack and give you the story of how we met. Because, man, I would have never thought in a million years that Brittany would turn into the woman she became. We met at a community block party in Atlanta. I was 29, she was 27. She had this energy about her, bubbly, easygoing, loud laugh, and she carried herself with confidence. She was a project manager for an events company, and I was already doing well in logistics. We hit it off right away. She liked old school R&B, played spades like a champ, and could hold a conversation that wasn't always about social media or clout. She was different, or at least I thought she was. Our first few years were great. We took trips together, Jamaica, Toronto, and Mexico. I introduced her to my family. She blended right in. We had a nice condo, eventually upgraded to a house in the suburbs. We even talked about starting a family soon. Everything seemed right on track. That is, until she dropped the open relationship bomb on me. No argument, no warm up, just out of nowhere. One Thursday night, we were watching Netflix and eating takeout, and she turns to me and says, I've been thinking, what if we tried an open relationship? I looked at her, blinked twice, and asked, You serious? She said yes, dead serious. Said she'd been reading up on it. Some article about sexual autonomy and how humans aren't naturally monogamous. She even had examples of other couples trying it. I didn't respond. I didn't get mad. I just got quiet. I think that scared her more than yelling would have, because I meant it when I went silent. I wasn't going to fight for a woman who wanted to be out here in the streets while I sat home like a chump. I wasn't going to beg her to stay faithful. I'm not built like that. I excused myself and went to bed early that night. No talking, just silence. I stared at the ceiling and made up my mind. The next morning, I acted like everything was normal, kissed her forehead, went out the door. But I didn't go to work. I went to the nearest law office I could find and booked a consultation with a divorce lawyer. Here's the part that really pushed me over the edge, though. A few days after Brittany's request, I went to visit my cousin Vanessa. She's more like a sister than a cousin. We go way back, She was always the one looking out for me. We got to talking, and I mentioned vaguely that Brittany had said something that made me question our marriage. That's when Vanessa said something that stopped me in my tracks. Don, I didn't want to be the one to say it, but I've known for months she's been messing with one of her colleagues. She's been cheating on you. I felt like someone punched me in the chest. Vanessa said she saw Brittany at a restaurant one night, real cozy with some tall dude with dreadlocks. Said they were holding hands and looked like they'd known each other for a while. She didn't want to come to me with it because, in her words, you seemed so happy and I didn't want to be in the middle. I was heated. I cussed her out right then and there. You're supposed to be my blood. You knew and didn't say anything? That didn't sit well with the rest of the family. Word got around that I lost it on Vanessa, and suddenly I was the villain. Everybody had something to say. Blood is thicker than water. You need to be mad at your wife, not your cousin. You owe Vanessa an apology. Nah, I don't owe nobody nothing. That betrayal cut deep, not just Brittany's betrayal, but my family's reaction too. Since then, I don't talk to most of them. I keep to myself. I learned the hard way that not everyone who shares your last name shares your values. Anyway, like I said, about a month after Brittany dropped that bombshell, she got served. She called me immediately, crying, screaming, saying, "Don, what is this? Divorce? Are you serious? I thought we were just talking. I thought we were exploring ideas." I told her plain and simple, "You wanted an open relationship. I'm giving you one. You'll be free as a bird when this is over." She begged me not to do it. She said she was just curious, that it didn't mean she wanted to sleep around. She swore up and down that she hadn't cheated. I told her, "I already know about your coworker. Vanessa told me everything." And just like that, silence. Then came the gaslighting. "She's lying. Vanessa's always hated me. She's trying to break us up." You know, the usual script. When that didn't work, Brittany pulled another card. She sent me this long handwritten letter. Yes, handwritten like we were in high school. She said she wanted to go to counseling, maybe even take sex education classes to help improve our intimacy. She blamed herself for the disconnect, said she wasn't feeling sexually satisfied, and thought an open relationship would be better than cheating. Too late. I didn't even finish reading it. I put it in a drawer and kept it there. For me, it was more proof that she was trying to find every excuse possible to justify betraying me. We proceeded with the divorce, but that wasn't smooth either. Brittany pulled every trick in the book. In court, she faked having a mental breakdown, told the judge she wasn't in her right mind when she agreed to the divorce, claimed she'd been dealing with undiagnosed bipolar disorder and needed time before making permanent decisions. It was a straight up circus. She brought character witnesses. Her sister said I was emotionally distant. One of her friends claimed I was controlling. The judge saw right through it, though. My lawyer came with receipts, DMs, texts, timestamps from the night Vanessa saw her with the coworker. It all lined up. Eventually, the divorce was granted, clean and final. She didn't get the house. She didn't get alimony. We didn't have kids. So thank God I didn't have to fight for custody. Once the gavel came down, I walked out that courtroom with the biggest exhale of my life. Free at last. And let me tell you, the peace that comes after choosing yourself over chaos, priceless. I've changed a lot since then. I travel more. I take care of myself. And I don't trust people blindly anymore. I don't hate Brittany. I don't even think about her unless someone brings her up. I just see her for what she really was, a woman who wanted more than I was willing to give. And instead of respecting our vows, she tried to make me play the fool. But I didn't. I walked away with my dignity. And I think more men need to know it's okay to do that. You don't have to stay and fix something that was never built on respect in the first place. Anyway, thanks for reading my story. Keep doing what you're doing. You're giving men like me a voice and a space to finally breathe. Sincerely, Don. Hey, True Story, Don here again. I just wanted to write in and add to my story with your audience. Sending was overwhelming. So, I wanted to send you a follow up. It's been a few years now since the whole Britney situation. I think it's important that people know what comes after the divorce, because what people don't always talk about is what happens when the dust settles, when the paperwork is finalized, and when the ring is in a drawer or thrown into a river somewhere. I'll say this first and foremost: I don't regret leaving her. What I do regret is staying as long as I did. Because when you're finally outside of that mess, when you're no longer walking on eggshells, doubting yourself, or living with someone who drains your spirit, you look back and think, how did I let it go on for that long? For me, the signs were there, not just in Brittany's behavior, but in the way I was starting to shrink myself. I used to be loud, confident, fun. After a few years with her, I became this muted version of myself. I wasn't laughing like I used to. I wasn't passionate about things. I was just existing. It took the collapse of my marriage to wake me up. After the divorce was finalized, I went through what I now call a rebuild season. I focused on myself, like for real. Not just gym and new clothes, self improvement, but real soul work. I started seeing a therapist. Yeah, a black man in therapy, go figure. And I learned so much about myself, about why I ignored red flags, why I tried to fix a woman who didn't want to be saved, why I stayed loyal to someone who was already gone. One of the first things my therapist said to me was, Don, loyalty is beautiful, but it becomes toxic when it's one-sided. That hit me like a brick. Brittany didn't want a husband. She wanted options. She wanted to look like she had a solid marriage while still entertaining her fantasies. That ain't love. That's selfishness wrapped in romantic packaging. So I rebuilt. Piece by piece, I cut off people I should have let go years ago. Most of my family, still distant. They're mad I won't let it go with Vanessa. They think I should just forgive and get back to normal. But here's the thing, I did forgive Vanessa. I just didn't forget. And I sure as hell didn't go back to pretending everything's cool. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Some people need to be loved from a distance. Period. As for Brittany, she tried reaching out a few times post-divorce. She sent a long email during the first Christmas after the divorce. Said she was sorry. Said she didn't know how much I meant to her until I was gone. Said she's been doing a lot of reflection and hoped one day we could meet up for coffee. I never responded. I've learned the hard way that people often miss you, not because they loved you, but because they missed the benefits of you. The peace, the loyalty, the protection, the structure. Brittany didn't miss me. She missed the version of life she got to live when I was around. Let me talk about the peace, though. Post-divorce peace is a quiet kind of joy. Nobody prepares you for it. No one talks about how calm your life becomes when the drama is gone. I wake up when I want to. My house is spotless because I'm not cleaning up after someone who leaves a mess everywhere. I eat what I want, when I want. No more can you run to the store and get me this at 10 p.m. No more fake intimacy, no more tension in the bed, no more pretending we're good when we're not. I stopped living for Instagram photos. I started living for me. I've traveled solo, something I never thought I'd do. I went to Greece last year, explored the islands, ate amazing food, and didn't post a single photo until I got back. No performance, just peace. I also got back into woodworking. Built my own office desk, a bookshelf, and a patio set. When I'm working with my hands, I don't think about the past. I'm present, fully, and that kind of presence is priceless. Dating. Let's talk about that. And to be honest, I'm cautious. I've been on a few dates here and there. Met some cool women, met some confused ones too. I'm not in a rush to get remarried or move in with someone. That part of me, needing to lock it down quick, is long gone. Now I want alignment, peace, mutual respect. I've had a few women get upset when I say I'm not interested in casual flings or open relationships. One woman told me I sounded hurt when I said I wasn't into hookups or third parties. I told her, I'm not hurt, I'm healed. That's why I know what I don't want. Healing teaches you boundaries, and my boundaries are strong now. I don't entertain confusion. I don't debate my values. If a woman wants to explore other options, she's free to do so, just not while standing next to me. I've had women test that, though. One woman I dated for about 3 months tried to play the same game Brittany did. She casually brought up polyamory during brunch one day. I finished my waffle, paid the bill, and told her, good luck with that. Never spoke to her again. Some of these women think men are just dying for permission to cheat. Nah, some of us actually want depth, loyalty, real connection. I'm not ashamed to say I want old school love in a new school world, but here's the best part of this chapter of my life. I'm no longer bitter. I was at first, I won't lie. Right after the divorce, I was angry. Angry at Brittany, angry at Vanessa, angry at myself. I hated the idea of love. I thought every woman was a narcissist. I was deep into the YouTube rabbit hole, watching every red pill channel, nodding along like, yeah, forget these women. But that anger eats you alive. Eventually, I had to spit that poison out. So I did the work. I leveled up, not for revenge, but for me. I learned how to be okay in my own skin. I started eating better, dropped 30 pounds, got a trainer, started writing again, journaling, short stories, poems, just little ways to remind myself that I'm alive and I matter. I'm no one's option. I'm a damn good man. And if someone can't see that, I'm not going to try to prove it. So, to any brother out there going through it, let me speak directly to you. If your woman ever brings up opening the relationship, it's already over. If she suddenly got male friends popping up or starts throwing around phrases like emotional freedom or sexual exploration, brace yourself. She's already detaching. She's got one foot out the door and she's just waiting for you to be dumb enough to hold it open for her. Don't do it. Serve the paper. Save yourself. It won't be easy at first. You'll cry. You'll feel confused. You'll miss the routine. You'll question your decision, but one day you'll wake up, look around your peaceful space and realize this is better. This is freedom. This is you choosing you. Follow up. It's Dawn again. I thought I was done writing. I thought part 1, the betrayal, and part 2, the healing, were all I needed to say. I was ready to let the past stay buried and keep moving forward in peace. But life has a funny way of dragging up unfinished business just when you think you're in the clear. I saw Brittany again. No, I didn't go looking for her, trust me. I had no reason to. But the universe, or maybe just my bad luck, put her right in front of me when I least expected it. Here's what happened. A couple months ago, one of my college buddies invited me to a small dinner gathering. Nothing big, just 6 of us, some drinks, barbecue, old music playing, catching up on life. Now this friend, Tony, he's one of the few people I still talk to from back in the day. He knew Brittany back when we were dating, but he was never really team Brittany. Even back then, he'd tell me she seemed more into attention than connection. He called her a performer. I didn't listen. Love makes you deaf sometimes. Anyway, I pull up to his house, bottle of whiskey in hand, feeling good. Been a good week. Closed a deal at work. Finally built that damn fire pit I'd been procrastinating on. I was walking in confident, beard lined up, new shirt, good energy. And then I saw her, Brittany, standing in the backyard holding a glass of wine, laughing with someone's wife like she belonged there. I froze. It felt like my body went on autopilot. My smile dropped. My heart started thumping. And I swear for a second, all the noise faded out. She looked different. A little thinner, hair shorter, same big eyes, but something behind them looked tired. Or maybe I'm just projecting. I don't know. She saw me. I watched her expression change in slow motion. Smile disappeared. Her lips parted like she was about to speak but thought better of it. She looked like she saw a ghost. Tony came over, patted me on the back, totally unaware of the situation, and dragged me into the conversation circle. I stayed cool, sat down, said what's up to everyone, but the entire time, I could feel her watching me, like a low hum in the background, just enough to be annoying. I avoided eye contact for a good 20 minutes before she finally walked over. She said my name quietly. I looked up. There was a moment between us. Not love, not nostalgia, just history, wounds, a quiet acknowledgement of everything that once was and everything that would never be again. "Can we talk?" she asked. I nodded, not because I wanted to, but because I needed to see what she had to say. We stepped to the side, away from the crowd. She took a deep breath. "I didn't know you'd be here." I nodded. "Same." She hesitated. "You look good," and I didn't return the compliment. She fidgeted with her wine glass. "I've been meaning to reach out again. I just didn't know how." I stayed quiet, let her fill the space. I wasn't doing emotional labor for her anymore. She continued. "I messed up. I know that. Not just asking for that open relationship, but everything. The lies, the selfishness. I see it now. I was trying to chase excitement because I didn't know how to be still. I didn't know how to appreciate peace." I watched her closely. I saw the tears forming, the lip tremble. "I didn't think I'd ever see you again," she said. "But since you're here, I just want to say I'm sorry, not for the divorce. You were right to leave. I wish I'd been the kind of woman you deserved." There it was. The apology I never asked for. The apology I didn't need. Because here's the truth. True story. I already let it go. That version of her, that chapter of my life, it's done. Her words were too late, and I think she knew it. I nodded. "I appreciate you saying that, but I've moved on." She bit her lip. "Are you seeing anyone?" That question rubbed me wrong. Not because I am, or I'm not, but because it felt like she was trying to gauge if there was a door still cracked open. There isn't. I said, "I'm focused on peace right now. That's my relationship." She nodded slowly. "You always were better than me." I shook my head. "Not about better. It's about learning. I just learned sooner." And with that, I walked away. Back to the group, back to laughter, back to real friends. She left not long after. But that night stuck with me, not because I still had feelings, but because I saw just how far I've come. The old me, he would have been torn, conflicted, maybe even hopeful. The man I am now, I felt nothing but clarity. Let me tell you something, brothers. Closure doesn't come from apologies. It doesn't come from the other person realizing what they lost. It comes from you deciding you're done holding on to someone who already let go. Closure is your choice, not theirs. That night was the final nail in the emotional coffin for me. Whatever part of me still wondered, what if, got its answer. She hasn't changed. She's just lonely. There's a big difference. Since that night, my life has been even more peaceful. I've stopped looking over my shoulder, stopped replaying old arguments. I don't flinch when her name pops up in old photo tags or memories. I'm good. Actually, I'm more than good. I started mentoring young men through a nonprofit that works with high school seniors from rough backgrounds. I tell them my story. I tell them about choosing better, about valuing themselves, about walking away from broken things, not trying to fix everything. One of them asked me recently, "Mr. Don, what if you really love her though?" I told him, "Then love yourself more." That's what it all comes down to. Self-love ain't bubble baths and positive quotes. It's setting boundaries. It's walking away from anything or anyone that disrupts your peace. It's not letting guilt keep you stuck. Brittany was a storm. I finally built a life that doesn't need an umbrella. I've started dating again, slowly, intentionally. I met someone recently. Her name is Leah. We've only been seeing each other for a couple months, but there's a calmness to her. No drama, no mixed signals, just steady presence. I told her everything about my past. She didn't flinch. She said, "Sounds like you've been through a war, but you didn't come back bitter. You came back wiser." That meant something to me. It reminded me that people who are meant for you won't be scared of your scars. They'll just be grateful you survived. So, yeah, that's where I am now, thriving, free, at peace. So, every man out there reading this who's sitting in silence, who's being disrespected, gaslit, manipulated, hear me clearly. You don't need permission to leave. You don't need to catch her cheating red-handed. You don't need a round of applause for choosing yourself. You just need the courage to walk. Because what's waiting for you on the other side? Peace. And peace, my brother, is priceless. Thanks again, True Story. I never thought writing in would give me this kind of release. I never thought telling my story would reach other men around the world. But I'm glad I did. I'm not a victim. I'm not broken. I'm just a man who finally chose himself. With love and clarity,